DMG takes yet another double, but yet again, we need to highlight, natives were close. There was a lot of fight in natives, but somehow it just dissipated.
Yeah, unfortunately, the later the game got, the stronger the Jinx is going to be able to be. Finally, Namex got a fight at the end where he was untouched. But Namex wasn't really the shining point of this roster for either side, really.
I mean, you can set the Gragas behind, but all the Gragas really has to do is slam R on something, E it, and set up for the rest of your team to do damage to get that Jinx to reset. And the damage was clearly all coming from Bitsay in that jungle, right? Phenomenal performance by him, really heavy lead towards the start. As long as everyone else could function as part of their Jinx composition, he would be fine, and none of them lost their functionality for the errors in the early game. Should have probably highlighted more that this was essentially Lilia in the current generation into a triple tank setup. She would have some advantages, so should have probably seen that coming, a huge advantage in that draft we didn't necessarily focus on, but full shout outs to him.
It was not an easy matchup for the Sejuani as well, so that's why we're going to toss it to the interview to talk with the player of Sejuani. Hybrid is waiting for us in the interview. Welcome to the show. It was not an easy way to play jungle, was it?
It wasn't. I felt like I was doing really well early, like I think I kept up with the Lilia, but it just happens sometimes, you know? Like I missed a bad ult spot lane, and sometimes you pay for it, right? I think if I hit that ult and I do a few things differently, this game might go the other way. But it's always like, I was a bit down, but I think now it's just like, I'm just focused on tomorrow's game against Nord, you know? Because if you don't know how to lose, you don't deserve to win, so I know how to lose for sure. You know what I'm saying? We've got 5 losses right now, boys. We're chilling here with the losses. Losses are rolling in.
You've learned a lot. You've learned a lot. But that's the thing, like, I keep looking into natives, and there's always a lead, there's always a way, and somehow the window is closed by the end of the game. What do you believe is missing? Because there's definitely a lead, and like the team is going places, but somehow you lose the GPS in the middle of the game.
Yeah, I reckon definitely, right? There's some areas. I think it could be to do with something, the champion pool, or something like that. Like maybe we just need to find something where someone can pull the trigger a bit easier, right? I think Sejuani's decent, but I think like if you saw the Volibear game, right, or stuff like that, or like the Vi game where I can just go in, I think it's like it might be a bit better, but it's just something we're gonna have to iron out, and this week especially, right? It's a crucial week for us, so we just need to iron that out, and I reckon we'll be good to go. Still haven't given up yet, you know? Still got a lot of tread left in the tires, but we're gonna have to start picking up some momentum soon.
You brought that up 2 times in a row, the idea that you're gonna be fighting versus Nord, this is a special week for you. What do you mean by that? What can we expect for tomorrow? Because it seems like you're really thriving on that one.
Me and Ecstasy, man. I love Ecstasy, but that's why I want to beat him badly, you know? Because last like 4 months ago, he and I had like the worst sleep schedules in all of Europe. So we'd be queuing ranked in like 4 a.m. and we'd see each other every game for like 10 hours straight, right? So yeah, he and I have talked a bit, and we're pretty good friends. He's like the 2nd follower I ever had on Twitch. So shout out to Ecstasy. But yeah, like I really want to beat him. He's getting a bit too cocky in the chat, okay? He's getting a bit too cocky. It's time to humble that fraud, you know? It's time to humble him.
I like the way you brought up, like, oh, he's my 2nd follower, so I want to beat him up. Like, that's fine.
No, he's been talking too much in the Twitch chat.
If I'm making predictions tomorrow and I'm looking at the matchup, it is 5 points for natives?
5 points for natives. Foxdrop, definitely. I love Foxdrop. Foxdrop, always 5 points. I don't know, though. Yeah, 5 points. Go all in. We're pulling out the velvet tomorrow.
Oh, okay, that's spicy. Thank you so much for this interview, man. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I'll see you soon, man. Best of luck.
Yes, see you. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
5 points. 5 points. I like we learned a lot by losing, and we've learned a lot.
They're on their learning arc. All they're doing is sandbagging for playoffs, because second half of the round robin is more valuable than the first half of the round robin. So they're getting their losses in early so that they can end the split nice and strong.
it's somewhere to look into that. Now, on the other side, though, we have Namex waiting for us in the interview. So the AD carry, we were highlighting him with the Jinx. Might as well talk. Welcome.
Thank you.
The Jinx was a rough plan, wasn't it? Obviously, you're gonna shine at the end of the game, but no mobility, a lot of lockdown on the other side. That must have felt devastating to play.
Yeah, it was very rough, especially in the first 25 minutes of the game. It was more of a coach call than a player call for this one, because we hadn't practiced the champs we wanted to pick, even though we had talked about it, but we hadn't got any scrim practice on it. So we decided to go with something we had already played in scrims and we were comfortable with, which was the Jinx, the low mobility. Very, very difficult to pilot majority of the game until you hit that 4 item breaking point where you start melting everyone and you can just stand far away and do your things. Nice cat.
Tell me something, was it close? No, this guy's the devil, by the way. Don't trust him. But when you look into the game, do you believe it was harder than it was supposed to, than you thought it would be? Because Natives is a tricky team to play against, isn't it?
I think they recently swapped AD carry, right? I think they made an upgrade on that part. I don't know how good Space was, but they were struggling before, and then they took a win off of Venom Crest, right? So I would assume it's an upgrade. I don't think they were... I have a very weird image of them, because they played good, but they didn't play great. They had so much window of opportunity. They had the control for the first 25 minutes, but they didn't do anything with it. We picked triple scaling on mid jungle AD, which makes it so hard for us to play. We have to cross map everything. We have to give every early objective. I got 1 steal on the Drake to give us another 5 minutes on the dragon stacking. But they could have done so much more. They didn't really put the pedal on the gas,
I totally understand. There's always Native starts really strong and all of a sudden they just run out of gas. I understand your idea, but now that you finished the first half of the split, when you look into the second one, who's the team you're looking forward the most to play yet again?
That's Nord for sure. I want to take my win from them. I was not happy with our game against them in the first round robin, and I really want to beat them this time. So for sure Nord, I want to beat them.
2-0 for Nord. Everybody's looking at Nord. Thank you so much for this one, Namex. Best of luck for the second half of the split. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Everybody's looking at Nord. It's Nord is not doing anything, but everybody's we're going to beat you up.
Just getting bullied in the playground. The kid is just minding his own business, having a nice little time, just studying for his exams. Why not? Bully the guy, why not?
Well, shall we bully other people? Well, LLS versus Venom Crest. Yeah. Let's talk about these folks, because this is a match. There's a lot to take into this one. LLS, the rising stars. Venom Crest, a team that are running out of ideas, but they're also at the top of the table at the standings. When we look into this one, what do we bring in the highlight? Because it seems like we're jumping into Champion Select. Oh, straight up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is, how do you prep for light side, right? Any kind of prep that you do for light side will make your prep almost worse for the other team. So I'd expect Venom Crest to be trying to double down on their playstyle so far. I will also say, I think light side have certain advantages in towards Venom Crest. Sorry, I like about Lingard and Simpy, but I don't think that mechanically they're going to be the most punishing 2v2s to be going up against in the NLC, which means you can get away with a lot more creativity in the bot lane that relies on the enemy not actively punishing you so severely. Fruity Fresh basically could potentially get to those initial backs you need to on those AP champions before you can be an effective dueler. So I do look at this as somewhat light side favored from that perspective. But it's a very close one, right? This could go either way because Venom Crest, with Lenny on top side, and with 2 players who do have a clear idea how to play a map on their bot side, they do feel a lot like a complete team, whereas light side are somewhat constrained to the mid-bot side of the map.
I will say as well, coming into this season, obviously I had a lot of eyes on Lenny, was one of our all-pro top laners, was in that top 2 discussion for the majority of last split. This split...
The ASOL ban.
The fabled bot lane ASOL ban. That Lenny coming into this split specifically hasn't hit the same highs that we saw from him in split in the first split of the year, and Elijah has come in, for me a little bit of an unknown quantity, but has absolutely shown up in a way that I wasn't expecting. So this top matchup as well for me going to be one I'm keeping my eye on.
Oh, I was waiting because I see the ace Sol, but then I realized Tristana and Corki are open, so it's like a handshake. You take the Tristana, we take the Corki, there you go. This can go either way. By the way, Ziggs could be a contested pick because Fruity Fresh and Lingard, they both play the same. On the bot lane, weird sentence when you look into AD carry and they both play Ziggs. But now that you've seen Sejuani, that can be a flex for a lot of positions. Ooh, Cassante.
I'm just curious what's going on in the kitchen.
Is
everything okay? Is there a mouse?
Continue, ignore it.
Ignore, let's move on to this. Yeah, Cassante?
Yeah, so Elijah's been performing exceptionally well on the Cassante, almost akin to how we've been used to seeing Bucci perform on it. But Elijah had some really solid performances just last weekend. No surprise to see that locked in. Can be taken blind quite easily. Does open for a potential Gwen to come through on that top side. Pairs nicely with the Sejuani with the melee. Also gives you some magic damage in your composition, but a bit of a gauntlet thrown down by taking it so early on. Against
Cassante mid Tristana bot. If the Corki ends up going in towards the midsection, you match with the Tristana and you put the Cassante topside. Or maybe they believe that Cassante in midsection against a champion that again is now a mid-range champion that has to be in range of potential Cassante knockups and all-ins. Maybe the Cassante can actually do something there, in which case, if you don't see a Jack spam by Venom Crest in the second phase, Elijah could end up with something he's very comfortable on in towards that Camille. That's what I think could potentially be going on here, and it would make sense with the Gragas pick. You can see the Gragas pick in jungle, you can see it in support, but you are more likely to see it as a top laner. We could potentially see two tops here, or maybe even no tops at all. We could just be looking at a mid-jungle pairing.
Yeah, and it's also, again, worth mentioning, Sumi's champion pool, very, very vast. Again, if you missed the pre-show, played Tryndamere game number 1 of his game in the NLC, right? That's the level of wildness that we can expect to see from Sumi. Like this opening, though, of the bot side bans coming through from Venom Crest. Potential open for the Nautilus, just to try and find themselves some follow-up engage, some initial engage, really, more so than anything. The Braum ban, maybe Leona comes out here and they try and sneak in Lee Nautilus on 4. Light side, they've got the option to ban it now if they want it, but it's up to them really if they go for another AD or they just take out that prime engage.
Because if they can take the AD, because Smolder is available, we know what Fruity Fresh is capable of doing with the Smolder. I think he's the only one that played the Smolder yet after the buffs. He's a dangerous person.
I mean, I think they're looking at the current bans and they're thinking if we pick Nautilus now, we can go Zeri in last rotation and the enemy isn't going to have any point-and-click CC to be able to deal with that. They've banned Kai'Sa for us. So if we ban Braum Leona, this is basically an uncountable setup. Instead, they slam the Rel. So Lightside do still have that option to do the Zeri. Yeah, to do the Zeri that I was talking about. The point-and-click, though, that Venom Crest have, and why they might be fine with risking losing the Zeri is that Camille. If that Camille is in a strong place there, then they can still deal with the Zeri, prevent her locking herself over. That is base. Mid-range. So mid-range Corki, melee range Sedge, melee range Camille, melee range Rel. This is a perfect breeding ground for a Swain pick. Whatever Venom Quest do in the last rotation needs to be very heavy on the range, but that range will be matched by the Tristana later on in the game. That becomes the big risk. So this is a really strong pickup here. Venom Crest are very isolated in terms of what they could or could not pick. And the Alistar means we actually have a lot of potential matchings going on here in terms of who's going where. That actually fits with literally everyone. That would be really good with, say, a Swain bot lane. That would be really good with a Triss bot lane. There's a lot of options that you have here on the side of Lightside. You can just see what they do. If they do a heavy long range, you don't put Swain bot. If they do a heavy long range, you put Tristana bot and all in with the Alistar.
The second pocket for Fruity Fresh is this way. We've spoke to him a lot about his preferred picks. He's Swain Asol 2 trick, but plays them bot lane because enjoys the role. But obviously, a lot of questions to be asked. That Brand could very easily go into that bot side. And Brand a mid-range champion, but just far enough away that you can try and space out the Swain ultimate. I think that's the most important part. He's making sure that once the Swain pops ulti, you have a way to disengage. Rylai's as a tool for this is going to be really crucial.
Yeah, I mean, the later the game goes, if Swain's able to survive to those points, he's going to be able to deal with the brand. But early on, this could actually be quite a big skill matchup in the bot side in terms of all-ins. That first back's going to be mental. Yes, that first back will be mental. Later on, whoever gets the all-in is going to win. So both bot laners, they need to have some fancy feet. The Tristana into Corki match has happened, so there is a big advantage on the side of Lightside in that regard. Were I a gambling man post-draft, I would be considering Lightside more than Venom Crest, but it is a gamble. Once again, the NLC is very close. There's some very skill-based thing going on here. As we saw with last game, whoever's in the lead, whoever's doing better, is not necessarily whoever's going to run away with the win. There are always options in the drafts. There's always options in the game. I'm really excited to see what happens in this one.
Well, a battle from the top teams. Well, we have 5 of those, but the top teams are looking for the first place. So toss it to the casters, Hipbrain and Fox.
Thank you very much. Hello. Look at, well, first of all, we were talking about how satisfying Brand is as a champion, but I did just look at my phone, and the conversations around Foxy's t-shirt is lighting up my notifications. It is a sick top, actually. I'm just sitting here in a plain white top. And you're like, look at you, just all flashy, boy.
I had to look cool for stream, obviously. It's the NLC, we've got to look sick.
I literally I'm wearing a white long sleeve, bro. I think you're showing me up. You're showing me up.
It's too hot for long sleeve, man.
Oh, it's so warm. Hot. I don't know why I did this. I'm an absolute menace to myself. Anyway, these teams are interesting. It's in the brand rel. We were talking about how there's some really good synergy in that. Actually, you get the Magnet Storm, you just headbutt the keyboard as Brand, and a bunch of passive stacks go off. I'm excited to see how this works. I'm really excited to see how this one goes down.
Yeah. I think that's a great combo. Like you said, I think the whole team comp's based around combo. You got Sejuani to set up as well with a lot of crowd control. And always, whenever it comes to watching these teams play, and you got Lenny on the Rift. Yeah, eyes on Lenny for me. He's such a good top laner, and he's on a carry top laner with Camille, or one that has a bit more agency. So, yeah, I feel like a lot of top lane champion pools kind of a bit like there, a little bit like not as interesting to watch. Yeah. This is certainly one of those champions where you can have a huge impact.
Well, a very interesting picks and bans are led into this game, but let's get into the second game of the day. Here we are, game number 2, Venom Crest. Very interesting team coming in from them, but like side saying for them, and it's one of those things where AD mids have been very, very popular at the moment, obviously with the rise of, first of all, AP junglers, but just also the power of the Corki, the Tristana, and their flexibility. It's nice to see that also this is kind of resulting in changes on the bottom side too. AP carries getting picked up there, Fruity. Actually, I believe Fruity's a bit of a Ziggs player, if I remember correctly. Now on the Swain, I'm really excited by what this bot lane's going to do as well, because we talked a little bit about Lingard and Simply's, Simpy's combo between them, but the Alistair and the Swain, I'm very interested to see how this is going to get played.
Yeah, this is going to be... I just think when you see a Swain here, that this Brand is just an even better pick into this team comp, because Brand, doing a lot of percentage health damage and all that lovely business, you do see Swain's build a lot of health, whether it's going to be like a Leandry's, Riley's, these are 2 very common items built on him, and obviously that's going to give you a butt ton of HP as well, and Brand does loads of percentage health damage, so yes, lots of damage coming through here, lots of magic damage. It does beg the question as to whether or not anyone on the side of like a Corki might go into like a Hex Drinker or something like that. I think considering the matchup, that would be a little bit of a bait. But either way, very exciting here. Some fun team comps and all about team fighting, grouping up, big damage, big combos. Lots of fun to watch.
Yeah, going to be very fun. Obviously, race to level 2 is on. Brand naturally will have a bit more shove than the Swain, especially once that level 2 comes in and you get the... I can't remember the name of the E. Conflagrate? That's definitely not the name. It's something, but I don't know if conflagrate is a word. Once that comes in, press W on the wave, press E, spreads the fire, auto shove. Obviously,
Yes,
very
sir.
famously, Alistar's not really a champion at level 1, so Lingard's going to be uncontested on that first camp. Or that first wave, at least, or first couple.
Conflagration.
Conflagration. That's I knew con was at the beginning.
Yes.
Conflagration is a much better word than conflagrate.
Conflag. I don't even know. That's a word. That's probably a
That's
word.
not
right?
a
It's
word.
gotta be a word.
That's
Is it
not
not?
a word. No, it doesn't
I'm
sound like a
Googling.
word.
Confragulate.
Oh, Fierce getting jumped onto. Does Valkyrie away. I don't think Fearcast was paying attention there. Did not see his mid laner getting jumped onto. But Sumi did have to blow the flash. Fierce able to hold his. So not the end of the world for them. As top lane, level 3's coming in here. So full combos being available to Lenny. That's that Q. The hook as well available to him. Got a pretty sizable wave here. Lingard!
The flash.
That was a very good flash. That was him under tower otherwise.
Yeah, and that was a flash for flash. It was the engaged flash from fast legs with the headbutt. Or the pulverize, I guess I should say. Pulverize and then almost getting that headbutt in, but a good response, as you mentioned, from the brand. And for what it's worth, conflagrate isn't a word. Conflagrate is. Not conflagurate or whatever.
Whatever I was saying.
Whatever we were doing, we can't speak English, and we are, to my knowledge, quite English. And
Lingard's baiting them.
Flash.
Headbutt Pulv comes in. They're going to miss the E onto Lingard, and that could just be fast leg getting cooked down. Passive on, and pop! He goes. Lingard secures the kill. Lenny and Elijah also having a little bit of a scrap here on the top side, but it's too close to the tower for Lenny to really full commit. He will just get Q2'd, or Q3'd, sorry, underneath the tower and go down. So Lenny gonna probably just have to shove this wave in and go for a reset.
That's a really, really good bait on the bot side of the map, though, there. Honestly, just knowing the light side really want to stop that freeze and bringing the jungler down to make that happen. These are the kind of plays that, you know, make you just hate solo queue, because that would never happen in solo queue. The amount of communication you need just wouldn't go down. But yeah, Bartoldi trying to do something similar, trying to respond to something similar, is not going to happen this time around. It's something I've not really mentioned, by the way. I know I'm kind of just like yapping a bit here, but like this Gragas pick, gonna be, you know, going AP Gragas, because that's just what you do nowadays on jungle Gragas. It does really, you know, give you a lot of magic damage. I'm not really convinced that it's a great option, though. You can just press R onto squishes as Elijah now. Here comes the Goon Squad. It's
so easy to lock him down. The permafrost comes in. Lenny hook shots out. Comes back in for the stun. Elijah has the Q3 though. Lenny's able to dodge it. And Theocassis able to pick the kill up. He's going to just get himself the reset. He has teleport. Elijah already used his, but as fast like Hex flashes over the wall. There is no Lingard in the area. And here's the one issue with having the Brand in the bot lane. Brand is very good at taking grubs and just taking neutral objectives. It'll be great for taking the dragons, but if you want to try and get those early grubs, you're either going to have to rotate Lingard all the way out of bot lane just to have that kind of extra clear speed from it, or just not have the Brand and do it maybe a little bit slower.
Brand is actually a cheat code for grubs. You think like so whenever you kill a grub, the rest of them heal for 1,000, so you can't just AoE them down. Hold on, we'll put poison out. Sumi's jumped in. That's a lot of damage, but nothing else happening. Fast Legs enjoying the show from the bush. Yes, so just continue the point. Brand's AoE is so strong that despite those heals, he still one-shots pretty much everything in that grub pit. So yeah, it is going to be taken down from Fearcast, though. He's already on it. He's got Lenny to back him up, and Lightside, they know about it and going for the dragon. There's the engage on Simpy.
Oh, Simpy in a bit of danger here. Has the blast cone, able to get away. Sumi secures it with the buster shot. Void grubs picked up. Dragon will be picked up in response. Do I say that? Looks like Bartoldi actually potentially looking for something onto Lingard on the bottom side of the map. His eyes right now are on Lenny, but I think this could be a Brand in a little bit of danger.
And it's what I'm not really massively a fan of this Gragas pick, because he does not take objectives very well. Or at least Dragon specifically, he doesn't take very well. He's kind of outdated.
Oh, he's in trouble.
In some regards, yeah. He's been caught.
He's thrown the Pyroclasm down. Unfortunately, we're watching the top lane fight. But that was... he did a lot of work. It's a shame we missed it.
just brand things. He got caught, pressed a few buttons, and everyone almost died. But yeah, Lingard is going to be the one falling down there. But as you mentioned, no dragon traded there. Venomcrest still have the opportunity to take that one as this game will go on, and they have a very good dragon killing team, unlike Lightside. You know, I know I'm kind of like harping on the Gragas pick because it doesn't take objectives, whatever. But it's because you're pairing it with a Swain bot, right? Who also doesn't do things like objectives very well. Lenny's gonna have to flash out. That's fine. The early game though for Venomcrest, you pick up the grubs, you pick up the dragon. You're always laughing when you can get both those objectives. Always looking good here at the start of the game for Venomcrest.
Yeah, and Lingard's still going to be able to come down and help his jungler with that dragon nice and fast. Down it goes. Easy little pickup. And ultimately, Lingard, he does go down, but he doesn't really lose much. The wave's in a pretty good spot for him. His team is still able to get the dragon. So, all in all, a pretty solid play there for the side of Venomcrest. Lightside, maybe scratching their heads a little bit on what their game plan is going to be. Is it just going to be rely on Sumi to kind of take over the game? When they get to the when they get that 2-3 item mark, once you've got the flicker blade finished up on the Triss with the Kraken Slayer, you are going to be doing a lot of work. But right now, having a lot of trouble here versus Fierce. Fear Cassis in the area as well with the ult in the pocket, so not going to be able to make a play off the back of that one. And once again, Lightside are hovering multiple people towards that bot lane for a potential play.
Yeah, we see this a lot. Tristana being picked up into Corki as a counter for a very strong pick in the meta. But Sumi's jumped in.
Oh, the Buster shot's huge. He's got the cast. Fierce goes down. Sumi. Okay.
All right. I was gonna say, and so far we've not really seen it do too much, but of course they got in before I finished my sentence, and that was great limit knowledge there for Sumi as well. He was quite low on health, but still jumps in, flashes to knock the Corki towards Bartholdi there with his ulti, and a great kill on an otherwise pretty difficult lane to attack. Speaking of attacking, Theocash is going to get a little bit of aggression thrown down to him, but not too much to write home about. And yeah, great kill there for Lightside.
Big kill as well, because typically earlier on the Corki is going to be a little bit stronger than the Tristana. Just has a lot more well, I mean, the best way to look at it is Corki not a late game champion anymore. Corki actually a lot earlier game in his playstyle. So, you know, typically if this was a couple patches ago before the changes, Tristana would have absolutely smashed him in the early game fights. But now a lot of damage comes out from Corki early. And as you've seen in both our games, Corki does lose that fight early as Lenny is going to have to hook shot away. Tries to break away from this one. Bartholdi gets the slow down. Elijah charges up the Q3. Lenny's trying to break away, but with the all out, Elijah's going to be able to make quick work of him. Just doing Cassante things.
Yeah, right as grubs spawn. That should be Lightside responding with 3 grubs here as well. Fast legs in the area. Nothing happening for Venomcrest. Should be the case here.
Oh.
Yeah, Cass kind of wants to maybe steal one. He has to be careful though. He's in danger.
Getting thrown onto. Everything been going down here. Fierce trying to put some damage on, but Lingard's made his way forwards with that Pyroclasm. All Venomcrest need is 1 grub for that summon. And they're looking for it. There's only 1 grub left for them though. Fruity's made his way over. Simply is going to have to jump out, and it's just going to be 3 for 3 on the grub front. Lightside able to answer back.
Yeah, handshaking the grubs there. As you mentioned, answering him back, getting that pick onto Lenny. That was awkward timing to die as well on top side, like right as the grubs spawn. Has to be a bit more aware in that situation, you know. As a champion like Camille, you know, with that hook shot, you can be exceptionally elusive in those ganks. Can be really hard because hook shot's essentially 2 gap closers, right? 1 to the wall and then 1 away from the wall. But you're still very squishy, especially early on. And Cassante is, I mean, yeah, Cassante is Cassante. So, gotta respect it. Did not. And as a result, that is going to be that grub trade. As Dragon now will be the next objective these teams will be looking towards taking up in about a minute's time. I think we may have lost Jake.
Don't worry, I was muted.
He was muted. Okay.
Yeah, classic Jake. Classic Jake.
He's back.
Man, I was looking up brand ability names, just making sure I could remember the name of the passive, Ablaze, and I forgot to unmute. I'm a professional, by the way.
You can have the best mic in the world, Jake, but if you're muted and it's not on.
Spend all this money on the mic and I don't use it properly.
It's just a skill gap, mate. I'm saying.
Yeah.
You didn't miss too much. Swain died. And,
Yeah, no, that crow got absolutely toasted. Don't worry, I play-by-played it. It was the best play-by-play in my career. No one heard it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
and
that was
missed
highlight
out.
reel worthy, that
We
was.
missed out. Honestly, that is such a shame. Oh well. I'm sure you've got another good one in your pocket in this game, I believe.
Let's hope. Maybe there'll just be no action now, out of pure spite. There'll be no more kills.
Yes, just split push to win. Sumi's going to go on a side lane and he'll win it all by himself just by taking objectives. Everyone else will be playing too scared to fight.
I mean, there's a world where Lenny somehow gets like a pentakill and then no one can deal with the Camille.
Yeah, but then he's got a pentakill.
Yeah, then that is hype. Yeah, yeah. Okay, there's a world where like Elijah just roams really badly and gives like 70 CS advantage to Lenny. There you go.
Okay, sure. A pentakill's worth of CS gap.
Yes.
Yep. I can see that. Well, it's not happened just yet.
I
Jake,
doubt
but
it.
maybe.
I very much doubt it.
We'll have to keep our eyes peeled on it. Lenny, obviously, I said it before, but he's a very good top laner here in the NLC.
Actually very interested by Lingard's build here because he's picked up the Fated Ashes, so it's obviously going to be a Leandri's Blackfire Torch, which all in all isn't actually surprising. No one is surprised by Double Burn Brand coming out. What surprises me is that he hasn't looked for something like a Crystal Scepter second. I may have to hold this fort though because he is being kidnapped on the top side. Lenny dodging the belly bot with the ultimate. In comes the backup. They've got the permafrost, but they can't use it. Theo Cassis unable to find the turnaround. Simpy coming in. Fierce is putting some damage down, but he's going to get sent packing. He's able to survive, but the Krugs take him out by the Krugs. It's so heartbreaking. Light side absolutely flattened Venom Crest in the fight.
That's going to be 4 for nothing for Lightside. Plus this Rift Herald as well. Man, trying to play around this Cassante, it's just not happening. Right now, Camille, you know, she needs the items before she can be particularly useful. Didn't even have the Triforce coming into that play, which is obviously a huge spike in and of itself. And you can really see that. But Venom Crest, they have to respect it. They have to know. They have to back away and not try and contest things around the side of the map, but instead... Gonna be too good.
Fruity. That was upsetting by Fruity. Force the flash out. But yeah, I can't really quickly just go back to my brand point here. I feel like, especially when you look at Lightside, they're a relatively short range team. Yes, Tristana gets more range as levels go on, but outside of that, it's pretty much a melee team. A Crystal Scepter with your passive and just all the AoE you're going to be doing could be the difference maker for Fierce and Lingard to be able to kite a fight or not. So, very interested if they go for Leandri second. Obviously, I think from a DPS perspective, this gives you more damage. But from a utility perspective, I think the Crystal Scepter early would be, you know, very invaluable. And I know Pyroclasm also now gives a slow, but when you've got your E and just all your burns applying slows, it's almost useless that his ult slows now because Crystal Scepter is still so good.
Yeah, the slow on Riley's, the ticks are refreshed with every dot tick from Brand. So yeah, it's like as long as Brand passive is on, the slow is going to get reapplied and reapplied and reapplied, and it's absolutely disgusting. It's such an insane interaction between Dots and Riley. It's really gross, and I think it just comes down to what you said, Jay. Like, it's all about DPS. You know, when you look at the team comps, your only other source of magic damage is a Sejuani if you're Venom Crest, right? And so when you have relatively tanky team on the side of light side, you know, with you know, the Cassante and Alistair, things like that. Yeah, I guess you want to go for that damage and just kind of optimize that. I don't think it would be wrong if you went for Riley's, as you're mentioning, but I think this way around as well, just maxing out that DPS, getting that damage out when you are the sole magic damage threat is not exactly a bad idea either.
No, so but Lenny in his top line, every time we do have a look at him, not particularly doing great. 2-1-2 onto Elijah on this Cassante. Got a level over his opponent. Feeling very, very comfortable as Lingard has now rotated into the middle of the map. Just going to be looking to hold this. It's just going to be a bit of a waiting game now for this next dragon to come up. As Bartholdi dodging away on the Winter's Wrath there from Fiacastis, but not really going to be able to do too much. It looks like it is just going to be posturing and ward clearing for Dragon now at this point. Both top laners will have teleport in time for this Dragon spawn. Fierce needs to be a little careful with his positioning here. He's going to get Alistair any second now. Headbutted, pulverized, locked down. They pull him in. Fruity has the ultimate. He's going to pop it. Lingard trying to find the answer out. There's going to be the flash out from Fruity. He's doing a lot of damage to Simply, though. Misses the claw. And they found themselves a kill on to 1. Bartholdi goes down. That should just be Dragon number 2 over the Venom Crest.
Exactly, and that's a big deal, like you say. Like, they get 1 kill, but that kill, had a shutdown to it. Plus, you're going to get this dragon as well. Yeah, that was just a little bit greedy, honestly, for Lightside, who up until this point were winning all of these scraps and these skirmishes. Unfortunately, Gragas with a Lichbane rush is squishy, and there was a really good re-engage by Simpy, despite the fact that Fierce was the one getting caught. Simpy jumps in, knocks up the Gragas, gets the Magnet Storm as well. Gragas had a fully charged barrel underneath the Corki and couldn't prop it. Didn't even use his ult. Couldn't pop that either because he was 2 CC'd. So just a really good re-engage. Venom Crest taking that away. Going to get that Dragon to stabilize a little bit this game that was kind of slipping away for them just a little bit here early.
Yeah, this could potentially be a bit of a dangerous one here for Bartholdi. Getting launched onto. Has to flash out. They even get the brand passive off for the double burns. He's going to have to reset off that. A lot of HP being lost. A Meteor comes in. Oh, he heals. If he hadn't healed, I actually think he died. I'm pretty sure Lingard has Scorch plus the double burns. That Meteor would have reapplied that. Nah, that would have been him done.
It could have been, honestly. It was right. It was towards the end of the dots there. So I'm not quite sure if they had enough legs on them to...
Wait, does Meteor not apply Blackfire and Leandries?
That's a good question, actually.
I do not know, because he got hit by it, which it then should have refreshed it.
Hopefully
one of our smarter analysts are listening.
Yeah, it might do, but it wouldn't have done with his Blaze passive, at least. So
no, it wouldn't have, yeah.
It is something there, at least, I suppose. But yes, no, very close. Brand is doing so much damage, kind of incidentally, as is Brand, and just doing Brand things. Bartholdi already died once this game, 10 seconds ago. Considering he had a deathless game up until that point, was almost speed running his death counter there, but instead he does survive. That lane is becoming a big problem, by the way.
It is a massive problem. Oh no, Sumi's dead. Sumi's out of there. He's going to get the flash, but the ignite is going to be enough to get him low enough for the auto to finish him up. Big thing is Elijah has teleport, but has held it for the last 2 fights, and it's just looking to play purely side lane. Lenny used his teleport at the Dragon, so there was no way Lenny could have answered out if Elijah got that teleport through. Elijah just going to do what he can to this tower. Trading out here, has the all-out, can use it, is going to throw it down. Lenny in danger. He's going to keep the pressure up onto him. Bartholdi's making his way over. The cast goes wide. He misses everything. Bartholdi gets away with a sliver of HP. Simpy, I don't think he wants this heat. Lenny dodging it all.
Some happy feet there from the French top laner. Very nicely played to dodge everything from Gragas. Yeah, I don't know. This is the thing. It's just some slight mis-executions from the side of Lightside, where they're in a position right now in this game where they really could have Venom Crest by the scruff of their necks, specifically because of Cassante, right? Cassante, this lane, there was a 2-level gap between Cassante and Camille. Cassante, even in that pure 1v1, was bullying Lene, was also getting a lot of damage off onto the tower. All Lightside have to do is the difficult thing, which is nothing, right? Just let the game play out like that. Don't fight the 4v4 on the rest of the map, where your team actually isn't really that strong, right? It's not your strength at this point. But unfortunately, you know, like Sumi went a little bit too far forward. Bartoldi almost did the same thing as well. Like they're kind of playing with fire around the rest of the map, which I just don't need to do, right? Because Kasante is going to generate so much pressure that Venom Crest will have to answer it. And when that happens, that's when you pull the trigger if you're light side. But just a little bit too impatient here to really utilize Elijah on this Kasante.
Yeah, and the thing is without having Elijah there, I just don't think the fight is ever winnable. You're fighting into a brand Corki, so there's just so much AoE damage that can come out as Sumi's finding himself a little caught here. He's going to be able to limp away from this one. Interesting to see that the build from Sumi is actually going to be a Bork instead of the Kraken Slayer as their first item, and now we'll be building towards what looks to be an Infinity Edge. So Sumi actually opting for a slightly different Tristana build from what we're used to. Typically, it's Kraken Slayer into Quick Blades, or Flicker Blades now, actually, since they changed it, into like IE or Lord Doms or something as your third item. So interestingly, this is going to be Bork IE build here. As Lightside doing their best to try and get some damage onto the towers, but I mean, Lingard can just one-shot waves at this point. He is Blasting Wand, Amp Tone on top of the Blackfire Leandres, closing in on that Crystal Scepter, which Fruity has finished up. Elijah actually might have found himself in a little bit of danger here. He's going to be able to get the reset off, and the teleport's coming in from Sumi. Dragon spawning up in 28 seconds, so expect to see some action really break out here. Curious to see who Elijah's going to choose as his target to steal away. Flashless Brand is probably going to be my guess for that.
Yeah, he is a bit of a sitting duck. Is the downside of Brand just in general, right? Like, has so much damage, so much DPS, but is kind of vulnerable if he gets jumped on. Having the lowest deaths on his team, however, is a bit illegal. Clearly, you're doing something wrong on Brand if you don't have 10 deaths at 10 minutes, so struggling a little bit on that front. But aside from that, it's been a very solid game here for Lingard, as Venom Crest really looking to force this one out, but there's Sumi. A TP, we're going to get the fight.
Sumi got a lot of damage out from Fierce there. Elijah has the ultimate immediately. They look to finish Lenny up. Sumi is going low, but he's able to survive it. They get the kill. Fierce teleports top lane. He's just going to take a tower.
TP. Yeah, that's a good response there straight away. You know, doesn't hesitate. They're going to lose this dragon. Venom Crest know that. It's a foregone conclusion. So just straight away TP, get that turret. Those turrets worth a lot of gold as well, right? In total, it's like 700-800 gold. It's crazy. And I'm sure Corki will absolutely love to have that in his back pocket, as Venom Crest did kind of overdo that fight right there, trying a little bit too hard to force the engage. Uh-oh, Bartoldi.
He's fully committed to. They do send Lingard away, so he doesn't get the kill, but this is the difference between the tank Gragas and the AP Gragas. You're a lot more susceptible to getting picked up, and Venom Crest, they have a really, really good Baron taking team. They rotate over. Fierce and Lingard are here. This Baron will melt to them. Elijah doesn't have teleport. This is potentially a very hard contest. It's already half HP. Simpy just going to be playing the zoning tool. The Eye of the Emperor connects onto Lingard and gets him low, but I don't think they're going to be able to get in time. They're just going to look to try and take themselves the kills. The Baron's already been picked up. Sumi flashing away. Lenny's keeping the pressure up onto him. Simpy taking some damage. Will just blast cone away from the team as Fruity has made his way over, but Simpy able to just buy space, and he will sacrifice himself for the good of the team. The flash over the wall, the hand of Palpatine comes out from Fruity Fresh, and that is going to be Simpy going down a kill over to Bartoldi, but Bartoldi ultimately lost his team. Baron were getting caught.
Definitely worth it there, yeah, if you're Venom Crest. Oh no, Simpy dies, but I think it's okay if you get Baron for your team. As you mentioned, the Baron damage is insane, right, when you've got the double burn build for Brand, and Corki going at it as well. Bartoldi, yeah, just wrong place there, wrong place, wrong time. And unfortunately, he had a very good start to this game. He was all over the map, he was able to make plays. He was really kind of the engine for his team's success early on. But his deaths have really just been a little bit, I'd say, avoidable. Some suboptimal positioning. He does have that Zhonya's now, but to be honest, Zhonya's doesn't save you when you're just in no man's land, right? Which he has found himself in. He's going to have to shore that up if Lightside want to actually kind of turn this game into a victory rather than just winning the early game. But they've already lost a lot from it. It might just be too late.
Keep our eyes on them, see if they can make the comeback. I mean, the gold right now, not massively far ahead, but is a 1,400 gold. Power play already picked up to the side of Venom Crest as actually Fastleg comes in, unable to get too much. Simpy may find himself in a bit of danger, but is able to just utilize his move speed to get out for the moment. It's Castis. Potentially could find himself caught. Bartholdi wants to jump the wall here. They're going to get themselves locked down onto Elijah. Elijah slowed as Bartholdi comes over, gets the cast down. They're going to separate Castis from his team. He is just permanently locked down. Sumi trying to put the damage in, but the slow from the ult is absolutely enormous. And now Bartholdi forced to use the Zhonya's. Fierce. He's getting himself caught out for the moment as there's going to be Lenny getting himself 1 kill for his team. The brand is going to be popping off. Everybody's going down. Elijah needs to make a hero play happen here. He's almost done it. Lenny's low. They're going to find the kill. They're going to find the ace. Nobody on Venom Crest falls. Beautiful fight from them.
That is the power of the brand in a grouped up situation. Everyone hugging each other. That just insane spread and burst from the fire destroys everyone from the side of light side. It was a good start to this game. The first 15 minutes looked all light side, but the rest from that point, it was Venom Crest. They got a whiff, an inch of a comeback, and they ran with it. And in 28 minutes, just about 10 minutes from in a position of losing the game, they won the game.
Yeah,
Crazy
that was
comeback from those.
I felt like there was a couple of fights where Lightside started to run away with it, but again, it really came down to Bartholdi repeatedly finding themselves caught and built a very squishy build when realistically, as a Gragas in that game, you're probably engaging onto the front line because the Corki and the brand are always going to be trying to position behind the front line. So I feel like a tank build may have offered a little bit more for them, but ultimately...
But then you don't pick Gragas.
Yeah, I don't know. It was unfortunately a rough predicament they found themselves in. Then the brand bot lane pops off. Huge win there for the side of Venom Crest, and that is going to put us through to a break. We'll be coming back with our desk to talk a little bit more about that game, and then we're moving on to game 3, so we'll see you in a moment.
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.